And so we come to the heart of the build. What are we going to do in this step, which is by far the largest step and practically finishes the clock, is we're going to fit the following components. We're going to fit the headers for the WeMOS, which go here, so you can plug it in and out. If you're sure that everything's going to be okay, you can mount the WeMOS directly on the board and it will make a lower profile. We're then going to add the two capacitors that smooth the 5-volt supply and the 3-volt 8 supply. We're then going to put in the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 100 nanofarad capacitors, which are these guys here. The droppers for the supply for the drivers here, two 1N4007s, sockets, and finally the drivers themselves. Okay, so first step, I'm going to put in the two smoothing capacitors. So white stripe goes to the white mark on the board, and we'll hold them in place and just solder one pin at the moment. Going to just make sure they are firm to the board, and the other leg. These capacitors just provide a little bit of extra smoothing, and trim up the two diodes to perform the dropping. Now the white stripe goes to the square hole, and I just normally fold them over like this, and then they stay where they're meant to be in the board. So white stripe. Okay. Okay, now the 100 nanofarad capacitors, so they're written 104 on there, and these just plug in quite nicely. Right, now we're going to socket all of the chips, and we take the notch on the socket and it goes to the notch on the board. They're all facing the same direction, so it won't be very hard, and I'll just provide a little bit of tape to hold them in place while I do the first two legs. What I'm going to do is just reflow that and put some pressure on the other side. To make sure that the socket is absolutely firmly to the board. Okay. Oh, I did forget one thing. We're going to have to put the resistors in there as well, the current limiting, the current deciding resistors. So they tell the driver chips, which are constant current driver chips, they tell how much current to give to the segments. This is important for Numitrons because otherwise we can apply too much current to them and they don't like that. So we use 910 ohm resistors for that. And there will be 4 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'll have to go and get those in a minute. I forgot to put them out on the table. Notice that I'm just putting one leg on each corner of the socket on at the moment to make sure that they all fit in nicely and they all line up. And now I'm just going to whiz through and solder them. So this is the boring bit, it will be on fast forward. Okay. So here are the 910 ohm resistors. And again, we'll just bend these over and put them in. Notice that all of the components are going in from the bottom of the board here. You'll see that gives a nice result afterwards because it means that the tube side is very clean. So at this point, we can put in our drivers. Now they have a notch on them, and of course that has to fit up with a notch on the board. We also need to bend the splayed legs so they go in the sockets well. Very good. So now we can actually try it out without putting the headers in there. So we'll get the tubes and they should go in with a little bit of force but not too much, and they should fit beautifully. Nice thing about the sockets is you have the possibility to adjust them very slightly, but they stay firm. So these receptacles are really a great solution for these tubes. There we go. Now we can take our controller again. This time it's facing towards me. This is my test controller. Hopefully we will be able to see. Okay. Good, yeah. They're basically working. So let's have a look at the startup sequence, which you should expect. You plug in the power. It says start, spiffs, and then it cycles through the digits 0 to 9 and back again. It will continue like this until you take it out of the startup mode. And to take it out of the startup mode, you have to press the button while the display is showing all 8s. You can find more details in the manual.